for the National Assembly election 2019. I am standing in for Mr. Darlington John Ojeaga of Daily Global Watch in Toronto, who due to some immediate engagement will not be available for this all-important interview. Without wasting much of your time, sir, Hon Perkins Ojeaga, can you tell us briefly who Honorable Perkins Ojeaga is?
Thank you very much for your introduction, and I'm very grateful for the fact that Darlington John Ojeaga designated you to come and attend this interview all the way from Toronto. I'm happy to have you in my home, and we are delighted that you are here today. Honorable Perkins Folorunsho Ojeaga was born 21st of July 1960. I am from Edo Central of Edo Central, Edo State of Nigeria. In a nutshell, I attended both my primary and post-primary and secondary and polytechnic in Kaduna State in the early 80s. I left Nigeria in 1985 to England, and I've lived in England in the last 31 years of my life. I'm happy to say I was trained in the UK. I schooled in the University of Bradford. I majored in international relations and conflict resolution. I have 4 children, 3 daughters and a son, who are all graduates, all born in Great Britain, and all of them are British citizens, to the glory of God. And my children are happy with the fact that their dad is presently in Nigeria to be a partaker in the political development of our country.
Can you tell us briefly how you become a member of the group?
I want to begin by saying that my foray into the Green Party began from when I received an invitation from His Excellency Donald Duke, the former governor of Cross River State. He wrote notifying me that Chief Michael Gadone, who was the former Chief of Staff of President Goodluck Jonathan, had recommended me to be the senatorial representative for Edo Central to the Green Group. The Green Group is a platform that later had a convention in Port Harcourt, River State, where in that occasion I met Governor Donald Duke, I met Alhaji Ahmed Mohamed Biso, the former PDP Deputy Governor of Sokoto State, who is also a pioneer member of the Green Group. In that occasion, policies were deliberated upon, and I'm delighted that the development of that day finally metamorphosed into the formation of the Green Party of Nigeria of today. So the Green Party of Nigeria actually metamorphosed from the Green Group and formally made her application to INEC for registration as a political party in Nigeria, which was granted by the INEC in June 2017.
So what's your relationship with His Excellency Donald Duke?
Donald Duke is a very good friend. I want to remember fondly that on that occasion at the Meridine Hotel in Port Harcourt, he was very welcoming to everybody. As the facilitator of the Green Group Maiden Convention in River State, He received us very warmly. He accorded us great respect, and he gave everybody the notification that was due to every one of us. He was very friendly, and it was a delight that Donald Duke and Alhaji Ahmed Mohammed Musa both facilitated that meeting. So meeting them, both of them, was a great honor.
You mentioned about the metamorphosis of Green Group into Green Party. In a nutshell, you tried to touch on one or two areas. But I want to ask you, what does the Green Party of Nigeria stand for?
That's a very good question. Thank you for asking. Like everybody knows, the Green Party has its evolution from the Green Party of Western Germany. The Green Party started from Western Europe. It started from Germany. Green Party stands for all that is environmentally friendly. Green Party stands for transparency. Green Party stands for alternative to use of crude oil. That is experimentation into alternative energies. Green Party stands for development of the agro sector, taking agro sectors from subsistence farming to mechanized farming, bringing it to community development in order to extend into urbanization of rural areas.
So you are trying to tell me, from what I can pick, that one of your key priorities, the Green Party should come into power in the agro-based economy.
Yes, the Green Party of Nigeria currently is looking into the use of agro-mechanized development into becoming a major foreign exchange earning factor for Nigeria, rather than the crude oil that has been the single basket of the population.
So what you're trying to tell me is that over-reliance on the oil sector in Nigeria is beginning to be a problem. People are looking for alternative.
Absolutely.
To such an idea.
Yes.
So the agro-base being the front runner instead of crude oil being the front end.
Right.
Okay.
Although crude oil remains a major source of income to Nigeria, but with years to come, the primary essence is now to develop our agro sector and make the agro sector a higher foreign income earning factor in our economy. Agro, like in the 60s and in the 70s, during the days of the cocoa of Western region and the granite pyramid of Kano, agro can regain her lost glory. Too much emphasis has been placed on the crude oil, which was discovered in commercial quantity in Olorobiri in the Niger Delta. That is in the early 70s. But we believe with agro and with the introduction of mechanized farming into Nigeria, that lost glory that we once had when we had the pyramid of granite pyramid in Kano and the cocoa of the Western region can again be regained. And this will help in ensuring that our unemployed graduates can be sustainable in their search for job creation and can be fully regained into that agro sector to be a major source of employing unit in Nigeria.
Okay, as a matter of fact, you have made vital points in terms of party, its platform, his core mandate. You understand what I mean? What motivated you in particular to enter politics?
That's a very good question. Before I touch on this core, give you a core answer to the question you just raised, I just want to take you a little back to my political evolution. Politically, I came into the body politics of Nigeria from 1993 in England, in the United Kingdom, when I served as a member of NADECO. From 1993 to 1999, for 6 years, I was a member of NADECO, alongside with the likes of Chief Odige John Oyeaga, who is currently the national chairman of APC. I served also alongside Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, who was the former executive governor of Lagos State, 2 times executive governor of Lagos State, and currently the national leader of the APC. In fact, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is a personal friend of mine. In 1999, when I visited Nigeria, I was his guest at 3 adjunct governors, the Lagos State government guest house in Ikeja GRA, and I stayed for 8 months as his guest. That is just to tell you how much in relationship myself and Asiwaju Bola Tinubu has been. So my coming into Nigerian body politics started from my NADECO days. Even in the United Kingdom, we were the core committee members that would go to represent NADECO in Nigerian affairs, in political briefings at the British House of Parliament in Whitehall. We also traveled to the European Parliament headquarters in Belgium, where matters relating to Nigeria is being held. So this has taken me quite a long time, and I've been in the Nigerian political sector from the early 90s in NADECO until I came back to Nigeria, and in 2003 I joined the PDP. And after joining the PDP, my people of Ace and Land had on several occasions sent emissaries to have meetings with me, whereby they were prevailing on me, rather than just being a bystander, that I should be a participator. I should be a stake member, a stakeholder in the polity of Edo State. After deep reflection on all these invitations, and I engaged in consultation within my community, I decided to run for the exalted office of the governor of Lagos State. The governor of Edo State. I put in my expression of interest, submitted it at the PDP national headquarters in Urobi, in Benin City. My application was taken to Wadada Plaza, PDP national headquarters in Abuja. Audu Ogbe, who is currently the Minister for Agriculture, was then the chairman of the PDP. My application was moved to Chief Tonianeni, who was then sitting with Alhaji Shiroma at the presidential campaign headquarters in Legacy House. And then he invited me to Abuja for a meeting. In that meeting, Legacy House, Chief Tonianeni gave me his reasons why he wanted me to withdraw from the race and allowed Governor Lucky Guled to have a second term unopposed. Then he further invited me to Omega Hotel in Europe, to the Edo State PDP, Edo Central Caucus, where before the leadership of the entire PDP leaders in Edo Central, that is Ace and Land, he addressed my issue and made a polite request for me to withdraw from the race. And due to my being a loyal party member, I took the microphone and acceded to his request. I withdrew from the race honorably. Now I went back to England. In my later return to Nigeria, a lot of people in my community had started approaching me, asking me what I would like to do, considering the fact that our community has been badly managed by the previous parties. the previous candidate.
I will take it up from there. I want to ask you something like it means that you have been at the forefront of politics for a very long time. I will use the word forefront,
Yes.
because whether you are the backbencher, with the names you have mentioned, with the places you have gone, it is very clear that you have been a politician for some time. Whether you have not contested any elected.
That's
position.
correct. That's correct.
So in that case, with your coming back fully now to be a candidate for the Green Party, I will ask you a very important question. What actually will you do for your people if you are elected?
That's a very
that coveted position?
that's a very good question. I have, in the course of my intimation with my people and in the consultation I've engaged in since my coming back, I have picked on 3 to 4 cardinal manifestos, which I believe has been denied of the people. First and foremost, it is a disgrace that after successive representation of both PDP and APC, where Senator Hon Ojeaga and Senator Trifodia has held sway, we are taking it back to 14 years ago, that to today, modern day Esan, our mothers and our children still have to carry basins and buckets on their head, walking miles in search of potable drinking water. It's a disgrace that with all the funds allocated to provision of pipe-borne water in our community, nothing can be shown for it. It's obvious that these monies allocated were misappropriated by individuals. Now, I have sat back to look at this critically, realizing that for any government to be able to serve and serve judiciously but fail in the provision of drinkable water to their community, that government is operating a failed state. I have looked at this objectively and I felt I cannot allow this to continue. This is one of the primary reasons that have motivated my decision to run on the platform of the Green Party, which is a very radical party, so as to introduce a radical idea and end this unpleasant development that has unfortunately been a plague in my community of Esan. I cannot be voted into office as a serving senator and within my first 4 years still see our mothers and our children carrying pail and buckets on their head searching for water, going beyond 2 to 3 or 500 yards at most maximum to get access to immediate source of water to enable them to have their daily uses for cooking, washing, and whatever with ease. That is one of my key priorities. Secondly, I have looked at my community. I have discovered that the schools, most especially the primary schools in Esan, the children who are the future leaders of tomorrow, it's a disgrace that when you take a trip along any of our streets in Esan, you see our children carrying trays in their head, selling granite, banana, and sachet water during normal schooling hours. These are children that ought to be in their respective classrooms of their educational institutions, learning to be greater leaders of tomorrow. This is a failing of the current dispensation. The current leadership we have failed. You cannot imagine where these leaders take their children to private institutions, but they allow the children of the poor to be on the streets. The classrooms are not well managed. They have no chairs and benches to sit. The roofs are leaking. You go to schools and see children bringing little chairs from their home to sit under a mango tree where their teachers are teaching. That is even if you have teachers. I give an example. There are schools, primary schools in Udiabo, in Uwesa, a school that was supposed to have 10 to 15 teachers. you barely have 3 to 5 teachers. This is a disgrace to our current dispensation. It's a disgrace to our current leadership. This is one area I must do something about. My conscience tells me that if our children is going to be children that will be of respectability for the future, if they are going to be children that will be leaders of tomorrow, they have to be given adequate institutional unit to learn. They have to be given the tool of education. I have my children in England. I saw my brother, my children, from the day they were born. I took them through all the necessary educational units. I cannot see my children in the way they were developed and now look at the children in my community littering basically in every street in our community, selling pure water, selling granite and banana. This is something I can no longer take.
I can take it up from there. I used to in terms of educational empowerment. I will ask you again, what's your rating about the youth development in your area?
The
youth development in your area.
This is one area where my predecessors have failed. I know that it's not the responsibility of a serving senator to construct roads, nor a serving senator to set up industries in his community. But it is the responsibility of a serving senator to influence decisions at the national government level, to enable the government of the day realize that an enabling society has to be created in my community so that there will be inward coming investment, there will be parastatals, there will be industries to be localized so that the youth in my community will be gainfully engaged. There has to be training program in order to enhance human capacity development. These are things that are missing in my community. The youth are not gainfully engaged. They are not given any training incentives through any intermediate institutions. They are not having any employment unit to absorb them. They are graduates, they are all on the streets. They have nothing tangible doing. And as a result of that, that has been a menace in our community. So I want to go to the National Assembly to begin a process whereby, like we do in the United Kingdom, there will be a weekend surgery whereby my constituent office, the youth, the unemployed, the sick, the old, will be able to visit my constituent surgery where I will sit to listen to what is their problems, prefer solutions, and also use my position to invite corporations to come into my community and help in establishing industrial units that would gainfully employ those who are graduates that are currently not engaged.
Okay, Honorable, I would like, there's a very sensitive issue in your area. Presently, I would like to touch on. I know you are very much aware of the recent intrusion of the Fulani herdsmen within your community and the murders recorded already. What will you do to tackle this situation if you are elected to the National Assembly?
Thank you for this question, because I want you to quickly realize, first and foremost, that the issue of the Fulani nomads, because they are nomads because they migrate in search of greener pastures and water. Unfortunately, the Fulani herdsmen activities in my community has been very unfortunate. There's been reported killings, especially the most recent one in Edo, where pregnant women were mutilated in the farm, and one recently in Uromi, where one of the most popular farmer was beheaded. Regretfully, the issue of the Fulani herdsmen is not a peculiar issue that has to be tackled on the level of constituency. it is an issue to be tackled from the premise of a national government. I'm aware that my party, the Green Party of Nigeria, has set up a committee to look into this menace and prefer solutions. Currently, there's been this huge cry against the grazing bill. Rightly, a lot of people have had to give reasons, adduce reasons why they are against the grazing bill. Most people believe that introducing the grazing bill means forcefully seizing large portion of land by the government and giving it to the Fulanis for them to be grazing their cattle, and hopefully with time this Fulani will now have a settlement where they will have their children, they will bring in their religion and etc. But I want to take a closer look at two states. One is currently in Benue State, where this has been a blanket issue and been banned by the government through legislation of the Benue State House of Assembly. Then the other is Kwara State, whereby the Kwara State government, who have until recently long introduced mechanized agricultural sector from the days they received the migration from Zimbabwe farmers, the white Zimbabweans. In Kwara State, for example, they have introduced a sort of a gaming reserve, whereby the cattle that are grazed in this gaming reserve, their milk are collected and sold in commercial quantities. And so the government is using a two-edged sword in trying to deal with the issue of the Fulani herdsmen. That is, addressing and giving them a place for grazing, access to green grass and water irrigation, and at the same time using part of what is coming from their cattle to enrich the society and the economy of the state by selling their product, that is their milk. So it really would depend on how eventually the incoming government of the Green Party in 2019 will formulate a policy document. But we are certain that the committee set up are visiting individual states in Nigeria, individual geographical zones, to receive memorandums, listen to people politely, then go back, put this together, and bring it out as a policy document, which the government will then, at that stage, introduce to the National Assembly for consideration.
Okay, that is very interesting. What you call a policy, that's what we call policy of repression and appeasement. That's what you have just mentioned about
Absolutely.
the Kwara State.
Yeah.
They use policy of repression, they use policy of appeasement, as well as selling the product also. But as a matter of fact, I would like you to give a brief message to the people of Edo Central Senatorial zone. I want you to give them a brief message.
To my people of Asian land, to my people of Edo Central, I want to use this medium to formally tell you that the suffering that has been meted onto every one of us in the last 14 years will come to an end by your choice of voting for me in 2019 as your senator-elect. For your choice in voting for all the candidates of the Green Party of Nigeria, beginning from next year, 2018, local government council election chairman, to the House of Assembly election, followed by the Federal House of Assembly, Federal House of Rep, the Senate, and in the presidency. Green Party of Nigeria has finally come to put behind us all the menace that the APC and the PDP government has cost us. The backwardness that these two political parties have cost us, the ineptitude they have introduced in our community, the fraudulent practices they have introduced in our community, the fact that all allocated projects that were meant to be localized in our community, never one of them was localized in order to help our teeming youth, our graduates. The Green Party of Nigeria has finally come to address it. Under the able leadership of Major retired Hamza Al-Mustafa, a very articulate, innovative, pragmatic leader who has been tested, the Green Party is coming to be the alternative. So, to my people of Ace and Land in Edo Central, get ready, get your PVC cards ready. The days of APC and PDP coming to give you money for you to vote for them is over. The days of their coming to give you wrapper, salt, and little rice is over. Please vote monthly for the Green Party of Nigeria. In 2018, for the local government chairman election, and in other subsequent elections in 2019, for both the National Assembly election, House of Rep, and the Senate, the governorship, and the presidency. Iwo kama meda tamawa obulu. Menon Honorable Perkins Ojeaga me vae medo tamawa me mwegbenea. Oyani mamonda level bi APC and PDP maeda loja amen mawa miemo meda amona meni rene. Iwo kama de ba na wani of school they do ahi amen wede ehi ogede ehi mango ehi sachet water egede ya work school na ya lembe na emi aki leadership na sema the future e wa mi school yo meda ka meda ado mo na lo owo ni na mi imi ma rewe ka yi school imi ma rewe ki dabi mi me e mere egbelo gi mi me wo ebo wi London iro meda egbelo gi mi ma we san osonobla no moto no mokun o agbelo gi ma osonobla ado na hu ni me me elo e wa hu arewe wa vote ime wa vote in the Green Party of Nigeria wa bulo Zaiki Ologe his Royal Majesty the Ologe of Iroa Megutwe Zaiki Momo